Hello, everyone. My name is Samantha Diaz, and I am the Legislative and Policy Director in the area of education here at the Minnesota Council on Latino Affairs.
And my name is Felipe Illescas. I am the Legislative and Policy Director and the subjects related to economic development and taxes here at the Council.
Great. Thanks, Felipe. As we at MCLA are continuing our preparations for the upcoming regular legislative session that begins on January 5th, 2021, we wanted to share with you a little bit about our work, how the legislative process works, and how, if interested, you can engage in the legislative session. So just a little bit more about us. The Minnesota Council on Latino Affairs is a state agency charged with advising and informing the Office of the Governor, the Office of the Lieutenant Governor, legislators, and state agencies on issues and policies that impact the Latinx communities throughout the state of Minnesota. We also serve as a liaison to the state's Latino community, providing updates and information that comes from the state capitol and other government agencies. So to get into the conversation a little bit, Felipe, could you provide us just a little bit of a high level of how the legislative process works?
Of course, yeah. I'm going to share my screen here just super quickly. And so, as Sam was saying, we are the Council on Latino Affairs. And for those of you that have questions around around the legislative process and how something becomes a bill or something becomes a new law, this is just a quick overview, and we're always available for questions at some point. So let's say you have an idea for a new law or a change in an existing law, right? So we start with your idea, and then once you have an idea, then you need to reach out to your legislators. So at that point, you can reach out to, if you know who your legislators are, so who your representative and your senator are, you can reach out to them, or you can also reach out to us, to the council, and we can help you get that process started on how to go from your idea to actually get a bill drafted at the legislature. So once you have a bill drafted, then we need to work with our elected officials so that we can have one of them, what we call carrying the bill. So one of them will carry the bill. That means that they will be introducing the bill, and they will be called the chief authors of the bill. So once the bill is drafted, then the bill gets introduced. And then once the bill is introduced, then it is assigned to one or more committees. So that means that the bill will be heard so for example, if the bill has to do with, let's say, police reform, then it goes to the Public Safety Committee. If it has to do with taxes, for example, then it has to go to the Tax Committee. And it can go to one or more committees. So in the committee hearing, the members of the committee can say, well, great, but we needed to go to this other committee first, or we recommend that it goes to this other committee after. So it can go, it can be assigned to 2 committees, but all of a sudden it might have to go through more committees. The committee process is very important because that's when the whole democratic process is at full display. That's when people can testify in favor of the bill or against your bill too. That also provides an opportunity for legislators, members of the committee, to ask questions to the author of the bill and to the people that are testifying for the bill or against the bill. So that's where you can really see democracy at work. And it's also important because committees have, they dictate what happens to the bill. If they vote in favor of the bill, then it gets to move on to the next committee. Or if they vote against the bill, then essentially that's where the bill dies. So let's say your idea gets drafted into legislation, the bill gets introduced, it goes to a committee, it goes through the committee process. favorably, then from the committee, then it goes to the floor. That means that all of the legislators in the House and the Senate will vote for the bill. You have to be cognizant that as the committee process moves forward, the bill has to move through the committee process in the House, but it also has to move through the committee process in the Senate. So let's say if your bill passes the House, but it doesn't pass the Senate, then your bill dies essentially. So the bill has to move simultaneously through the House and through the Senate as well. So once it goes through the committee process in both chambers, then it goes to the floor of the House and the Senate. And all legislators, all representatives and senators vote for the bill. If they vote against the bill, your bill dies. If they vote for your bill, if they vote in favor, then from there it goes to the governor's desk, where the governor will sign it into law, or the governor will veto the bill, which means essentially that he rejects or she rejects the bill, and then the bill does not become a law. Now, in some cases, the language of the bill is not identical in the House and the Senate. And when that happens, then the bill goes into what we call a conference committee. A conference committee is like a smaller version of the floor. It's normally 3 members from the House and 3 members from the Senate. In some instances, it's 5 members from each body that get chosen to be part of this committee, and they have to negotiate on final language. So if sometimes there are differences of maybe just a couple of words, which is just a matter of wording, or sometimes there are profound differences in the bill where the bills are doing different things. So the bill in the House may be very different from the bill in the Senate and vice versa. So they have to come together and negotiate on the language and agree on identical language. Once they agree, then from there it goes back to the floor and back to the governor. If it passes the floor, then it goes to the governor's desk for the governor to sign into law, or if the governor decides to reject the bill or veto the bill, then that's where the bill ends. If the governor signs it, then the bill becomes a law, and we have a new law or a change in an existing law. So what do you think, Sam? Did I miss anything? I know it's a very high level view of the process, but it is a complicated process. So we try to simplify it as much as we can.
I think you did great. I think you covered as simple in its simplest form what the process looks like and how we kind of operate. So thank you for that. What I'm gonna walk through quickly, I'm gonna share my screen and show you how to maybe engage a little bit in the legislative process. As it's important to start with thinking about, if you're thinking about legislation, how do you start? And it really does start with if you know who your legislator is. And so they're the ones in your community. They're the ones who represent you. So if you are thinking about addressing a specific issue within your community, it may be easy to start with them, or it may be best to start with them. And so here we're going to walk you through how to find your legislator, because sometimes we don't necessarily off the top of our heads know who they are. So here's one way where we can quickly do it. So if you go to our website, mn.gov MCLA, taking you to our website, and here in this drop-down menu, how do you quickly go to contact my representative, and that takes you, this is great because it takes you directly to the legislative website. Within here, when you want to know who represents me, all you need to do is type in your home address. For the sake of this exercise, I'm going to type in the address of our office here at the Council on Latino Affairs. So 658 Cedar Street, St. Paul. And there we have it. So Representative, actually, Latino, Carlos Mariani is the representative of this area, and Senator Sandy Pappas is the state senator for this district. So again, that's how you can quick find who represents you, as it's a good start in engaging in the legislative process. In addition to that website that we just showed you there on the state legislative website, you can track all of the policy proposals that have been introduced in the legislative session. So it's a good way for you to be a little bit of informed of what else is being introduced and talked about at the Capitol. And in addition to just tracking that website, one additional way that could be helpful in engaging in the process is really just keeping an ear on the ground and listening to or paying attention to maybe what's happening in your local community, because there you can find things that are that could be potentially being talked about in addressing issues within your respective community. You may even find organizations that share your opinion, position on various issues, and are actually already engaging legislators. And so that could also leave you to being part or joining a broader coalition and advocating a certain way on the issues. So Felipe, how did I do just in terms of what a couple of brief steps in terms of engaging in the legislative process and what that looks like?
Oh, no, that was perfect. And yeah, all the information that is on the website is public, so you can find your representatives and senators' email addresses and phone numbers there, and definitely feel free to get in touch directly with them. So.
And also, you can certainly, if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to us as well. But so Felipe, once you track down your legislator, you find out who your representative, you find out who your senator, who those folks are. How do you engage them?
Right. So once you get in touch with them, it's always good to set up a phone call or a Zoom call or a meeting. Most likely a Zoom video meeting nowadays. But it's very important to have clarity on your goals for that. So you have to be very, very intentional with what is it that you want to get out of this meeting or this conversation. Because legislators are very busy and they only have 10 minutes to 15 minutes tops to speak with you. And so initially, and so you have to maximize that time, and so you have to be very clear on what your goals are. So if your goal is to talk to them about a new idea that you have, make sure that you have all the information needed, and make sure that you have your ask. So this, I would like you to carry my bill or chief author my bill. If you have legislation that you don't agree with, and you want to make sure that they don't vote for it, then your goal will be, well, there's this piece of legislation. I would like you to not support it for these reasons. But you have to be prepared with information, with facts, with your goals, and with your ask. Remember that when you talk to your legislator, one of your goals, I think, should be, or my suggestion is that one of your goals is to build a relationship of collaboration and try to partner with them instead of saying, I want you to do this or I want you to do that. So it's a partnership more than anything. It's a working relationship, and also make sure that you have stories to share. If you sharing your own story is very powerful. And also if you can find people to share their stories, or if you can have permission to share other people's stories, then that's powerful as well, because that shows how legislation is impacting your life and the lives of other people. So those would be my suggestions. And Sam, please feel free to add some more to that.
No, I think you really did. You did a good job of just in terms of like once the meeting is set, how to at least have initial conversations with your respective legislator. So in saying that though, this concludes our short conversation on how to engage a little bit in the legislative process. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share our contact information, because what we want to ensure that you all know that we are a resource. We are a resource for you. We are an ally. We want to make sure that you know how to get a hold of us. And so here is our contact information. It's myself. That's Felipe. Here, and please follow us on social media too, as you can get a hold of us and kind of see what we've got working on in the Capitol and what's coming up in our work. So feel free to contact us. Thank you for your time. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.